Hello, everybody. It's me, Roscoe, and welcome to another Kings of Anglia Fan Social. And today is Fixture release day. Happy getting ready for the season day because this is where we get our diaries out and we plan our year, our season, where Ipswich Town will be going home or away. Obviously, this time it's a big one because we're in the Premier League, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got 38 games to look forward to, which we'll have to get used to because obviously Championship, League One, there's 46 league games, had all the other cups, pizza trophy in League One, just 38 big Premier League games. Obviously, we're still in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup. But yeah, I'm joined by a special guest, it's Steve Mellon, my friend. How are you? You were telling me off there, you're actually supposed to be in Germany right now, but yeah, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, good. Excited about today. Yeah, in a parallel universe, I am at the Euros in Germany. A group of four of us from Suffolk were supposed to be going out there, but one of them developed an unfortunate back pain and leg pain issue, and he's pretty immobile. So, in solidarity, I suppose you could say, we stayed behind. It's a shame. I've been to tournaments before, and they're always a lot of fun. And we did have tickets for the England game on Sunday, but we managed to sell them to another Town fan. So four other people got in and had fun on our behalf. So anyway, these things happen.
These do. But now you're with me though, so that's a bonus for me. That means I've got a guest. And yeah, it's an early morning because it is fixed release day. All alarm clocks are on, ready to plan out their times. I know everyone who's tuning in is looking forward to it. Steve, this is the return to the Premier League for the first time for Town since 2002. I asked you off air politely, did you experience Town in the Premier League? And you have both times, back in the 90s and obviously in the early 2000s. So yeah, it's a new thing for a lot of new generation of Town fans because we've brought a lot of new fans because of McKenna's football and everything like that. But yeah, you're looking forward to another Premier League season?
Yeah, I mean, I do remember. I am old enough. So I started going in '88. So I was going regularly when we went promoted under John Lyle in '92, which was great. And then the first season was really enjoyable, actually. The second two, obviously, one was a bit of a grind and one was pretty horrific. And then, yeah, obviously the glory of what Burley achieved, and then going up and being written off by all the pundits and sort of secretly thinking they were probably right, and then they surprised us all and finished fifth, and then we got to go to Europe again, which is something I'd heard my older brothers and other people talk about and never experienced myself. So that was great. And then the second season in the Premier League under Burley, again, pretty painful experience, almost from start to finish, actually, because we came so close to. We had that incredible run after Christmas where I think we won 7 out of 8 and thought we'd done it, and then dipped again and just missed out on staying up. And then we thought we'd be back pretty quickly, and naively thought we'd be back pretty quickly, and here we are 22 years later.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that. When I was doing a story on the opening days, and I think the last time, it was Sunderland at home. Away, sorry, the opening game. And obviously the last game was Liverpool away and we lost 5-0. And we think one day we'll be back. But it took 22 years and a trip down to League One for 4 seasons. But we're back in the big time, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to everyone who is tuning in. Looking forward to the fixtures. Everyone's saying good morning in the chat. Bono saying, morning all. Hope you're doing well today. Feel like a young lad again about to open up my prezzies on Christmas Day. It does feel like that, doesn't it, Steve? Because when those fixtures come out, we sort of know our season ahead.
Yeah. So I actually, instead of going to Germany, I was in Suffolk at the weekend watching games with friends, and I actually went down to Portland Road yesterday in the sunshine because for us expats, it's actually quite exciting to see the stadium. I know some of you probably see it every day, but for us, it's a bit of a treat. So I just walked around and looked at the building work, and it's just builders everywhere. You could hear drilling and hammering from inside the stadium, and they're sprucing everything up. And I think it dawned on me for the first time, perhaps properly, that we're back in the Premier League, because I like a lot of people, I found that Huddersfield home game a bit of a blur because I was so tense the week building up to it. It was such a relief to get over the line. And actually now, with the fixtures coming and having seen the stadium getting spruced up yesterday, it's finally starting to dawn, which is lovely, obviously.
Definitely. And Adam is in the chat just saying 4 minutes and counting. And yeah, we're going to build up to it, everybody. It's getting close, Steve. Quick one. who are you looking forward to seeing, home or away? Some big games to come. There's the obvious ones. Man United's, the Liverpools of the world. Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City, Tottenham. Like, there's some new stadiums for some fans to do, especially some of the new built ones, like Tottenham Stadium. I'm sure there's a few people may have gone to that because of American football and stuff like that. Obviously, Brentford have got a new stadium as well. But yeah, which ones are you looking forward to?
Yeah, Spurs, actually. It's funny you mentioned that, because last summer a mate of mine who's a Spurs fan turned 50, and we a few of us clubbed together and we took him on the stadium tour. Obviously not a game on, but that is incredible. And so I was standing there thinking I'd love to come here as an away fan one day, and obviously that was between the two seasons, so I didn't know obviously we were about to get promoted and that was going to come true. So yeah, I really, that's what I'm looking forward to. And as you say, so I've been to Main Road, but I haven't been to the Etihad. I've been to Upton Park. I haven't been to the Olympic Stadium. I've been to Highbury, but not the Emirates. Yada yada yada. So there's, like you say, there's some new grounds. Let's hope we can get tickets though. That'll be the challenge, won't it?
That'd be the golden ticket. Obviously, it's a golden ticket to get games at Portland Road, because obviously we sold seasons ago like that. It was gold dust. But yeah, as you did mention, I always forget about. I know we played Arsenal in the League Cup back in 2011. But yeah, some people may have never been to that game either. Like the Etihad as well, that was built before we were relegated or after we were relegated. So yeah, some new grounds for Town fans to tick off. Obviously,
places like Anfield, which are vastly different compared to when we were there last. Obviously, massive new stands, complete redevelopment. It's nice that we're going to get to go to Goodison one last time as well.
Yes,
that will be gone after this season. So we've timed our promotion to perfection.
Yeah, definitely for my colleague Stuart Watson, who is an Everton fan, and he was always hoping every time we had a FA Cup, draw, we were like, oh, could we get Everton? I think last year we were so close. I think we were one more sort of like name out of the hat to get them, and we didn't. And then when we got to the Premier League, straight away we were like thinking, great, we're in the Premier League, but also Stu straight away like he can go and see them. So that's a fixture we have to look out for, ladies and gentlemen. Look out for Everton away, even at home, because that'd be good. But we're not far to go now, Steve. What we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to react to obviously the first game. Then we'll look at the first five. Then look at the sort of festive period, the run-in, and then other big games, as we mentioned, all the big sort of like games, because everyone's looking forward to those ones. But we'll also, we can't forget Brighton. We can't forget obviously because of McKenna stuff. We can't forget Leicester. Southampton, because they're teams we got promoted with. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Newcastle, I know Newcastle is always an interesting one because it's so far away, up in the gods as well. But it's always an away day to look forward to, because it's a massive stadium, of course. The Bobby Robson sort of connection we like to. And Bono's made a good point. Average allocations as well, will be bigger grounds, so more fans, away fans can be there. Like we experienced Forest Green, didn't we, Steve? So that was very small. But it is 9 o'clock, so let's refresh our social media and let's see who Town have got to start the season. Obviously, there's always a little delay in there. If you know, guys, let us know. Don't tell us any fibs. Let us know who we get. And is it home? Is it away? Are we going to be hosting a Premier League game at Portland Road to start the season? Or have we got an away trip to look forward to? Steve, let me know if you see it. Oh, okay. I've seen the link. Let's see. And I've seen one person in the chat already. It is Liverpool at home. The rumours were true. Liverpool at home to start the Premier League season. Let's do the ticker. There we go. Liverpool at home. Steve, your instant reaction on that one. Liverpool, I've got a new manager, of course. And actually, fair enough, the last time Town played Liverpool in the Premier League was the last time we were in the Premier League. Obviously, that game at Anfield. So it's sort of nice little touch in a way. But yeah, Portland Road to start the season, which is always a nice one.
Yeah, I'm delighted with that. I think there's nothing that says you're back in the big time like having one of the big four, big six to play. And to play at home is great.
On TV as well, I've just seen. It's going to be starting on TV, 12:30 kickoff. So straight away on BT, TNT Sports now.
TNT Sports, yeah. So the world can see a bit of McKenna ball. Delighted with that. And like you say, there is a bit of sort of emotional symmetry there, because our last game in the Premier League was a very painful one because we got thrashed at Anfield. And people holding up flags in the crowd saying we'll be back. And they probably didn't think it would take 22 years. But yeah, that I'm delighted with that, because yeah, that what a way to say we're back, and for the town to welcome back Premier League football to have one of the biggest clubs in the world. Great.
And it's already started as well, Steve, that we're on telly straight away. Obviously, we got used to that in the Championship, but TNT Sports will be a new. I don't think we've ever been on there before. So, we've always ITV and stuff, the FA Cup, but Liverpool will be a different team. Obviously, we're a new manager. We're Slot in charge. But I'm sure Kieran McKenna will look forward to it. I'm just making the list, ladies and gentlemen, on the first 5 because the next one, Steve, the first away trip, doesn't get easier. It's Man City away, ladies and gentlemen, the Etihad. So a new ground to tick for some Town fans, I assume. Steve, that's a tough game against the reigning champions.
Yeah, so you'd look at those two and say, if we've got any points after the first 2 games, then we've done very well. And that's me speaking as an optimist. But yeah, again, welcome back. Welcome back in his Liverpool and Man City for the first 2 games.
Yeah, so Klopp taking on McKenna. That'd be interesting. Obviously, we haven't even mentioned at the start, we've got to look forward to all these superstars who are playing at the Euros. Haaland, of course, isn't at the Euros in Norway because he didn't qualify. But yeah, maybe the first time we'll see Haaland up close. Obviously, that'd be the away game. But yeah, some 2 tough games. Let us know, ladies and gentlemen, in the comments down below. We're going to go through all the fixtures. Not everyone, but we'll look at the key ones. I'm just quickly writing down the sort of opening 5. Obviously, after that is Fulham at home, Steve, and I think that's then international break. So, Fulham, decent team. They've got a good manager, some good players. They've now sort of established themselves in the Premier League. They're one of those teams, weren't they, who were sort of yo-yoing, but they've stayed up. So, 3rd game of the season, the second home game. Good test.
Yeah, and Fulham are one of those clubs like Brighton, like Bournemouth, like Brentford that we have to aspire to be. Certainly, in our I know the owners have lofty ambitions. Our owners, that is. But yeah, that's who we need to try and aim to be. Certainly in the first 2 or 3 seasons, if we're lucky enough to stay up there. It's really interesting looking at the fixtures, isn't it? How sparse the months are. You're looking at October and there's 3 games. And as someone having just been in recent memory in League One, where they'll cram a good 8-9 fixtures in if they can, it's a new thing to get used to see a month with only 3 games in. But there you go. Here we are.
Definitely. So I'm going to bring up the first 5. We already mentioned Liverpool at home, Man City away, Fulham at home, and then we've got. I've got a little comma problem here. I'll sort that out in a minute, ladies and gentlemen. But then we've got Brighton away, obviously, which will be an interesting one because of McKenna's links potentially going there or talking with them, and then Southampton away, which obviously is a rival from last year. So it's back-to-back away trips there to the South Coast and away. Potentially. Yeah. So those 5 games, some tougher ones, but some. I can't say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. Maybe winnable games potentially.
Possibly, yeah. And I think if we are going to stay up, then fixtures against the likes of Southampton are ones that we've got to look to take points from, or we will need to take points from. But then you're sort of looking at all the clubs that are in the Premier League, and I've seen people saying, "Oh, I think because of McKenna and the way we play, we'll finish 10th." And I'm looking at all the other clubs and thinking, "All right, who are the double-digit clubs that are going to finish below us then?" But yeah, for me, that's quite a testing start because we'll have to find our feet quickly because we've got, like you say, those games against Brighton and Southampton that we probably would have earmarks to take points from. I don't think we'll be sitting there planning to get 3 points at the Etihad if you're McKenna and Mark Ashton. So yeah, it's an interesting start there because you've got all sorts of different things in there. You've got massive teams. You've got a home game against the sort of mid-table side. I mean, Villa, who knows what sort of Villa we'll face then, flying high at the moment, but teams can change over the course of a summer with players being sold and bought, as will we. So,
very true. Do you know what? We're going to go through them all, actually, Steve, because it's exciting, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? And all of you are now planning that your months ahead. Villa is the final game in September. That's our home game. That is the 28th of September. Then in October, only 3 games once again. It's West Ham away, so the trip to the London Stadium, maybe for the first time for a few people. Then it's Everton at home, so Stu's derby is starting off at Portman Road, and then Brentford away on the 26th of October. So, new ground for people to tick off if they haven't gone there before, because I know there's a few people may have went to the Women's Euros. So, and obviously they played a few games there. Then November, Leicester City at home, the start of the month. Then the 9th, I think, is the game. I think a lot of people are going to earmark, Steve, Spurs away to the Spurs Stadium for the first time. Then Manchester United at home. So that is another game I'm sure a lot of Town fans are going to look forward to. A big game, obviously, with Kieran McKenna connections and stuff like that. Then Nottingham Forest away. So quickly, just your thoughts on those 2 months. Some big teams to play, but also some points we could potentially pick up, like Leicester. That'll be a game we'll look forward to as well.
Yeah, 2 London away trips in October. We know how the Town fan base loves a London away day. I mean, West Ham is kind of, I know it's not a local derby, but it is our nearest game this season. So you get a big ticket allocation for that. So that should be a fun day out, hopefully. And again, we talk about winnable games. We're trying to be humble because we know where we've come from, but we will have to pick up points here and there. You'd say Everton at home, Leicester at home. Possible points on offer there if we can play as we do. Brentford away, yeah, I'm looking forward to that actually if I can get a ticket because I've been to their old stadium.
I love that. That was great.
Yeah, it was a nice little throwback, wasn't it? I've driven past the new one a few times, and it looks so weird from the road, the main road that passes it. That I'd like to see the side of it.
It looks like a European ground, doesn't it? It just looks very like European.
Yeah, it almost looks like a bit of sort of public art or something. But London, fancy ideas. And then Spurs away. A lot of us will be crossing our fingers we can get a ticket for that. Man United at home is I know United aren't the force they have been in our time as Town fans, but that's still always going to be one of the. Then Forest away. Good stadium, good atmosphere. A team that we've rubbed shoulders with a lot in my time as a Town fan. And it'll be interesting to see actually this summer what sort of Nottingham Forest emerges, because obviously they had a bit of a chaotic season with the points deductions, and I'm not sure they're completely out of the woods in terms of trouble behind the scenes, but we'll see.
We shall see. December, get involved later. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on this. Then December opens up with back-to-back home games, actually. Crystal Palace and Bournemouth. And then I've basically done the festive period, which is Wolves away, Newcastle at home, and then Boxing Day is Arsenal at the Emirates. Away trip to London on Boxing Day. Hopefully the trains are fine, but probably not. So it's actually a little bit of an annoying one, really. Sometimes you want to just be a home game because you don't have to worry about travelling too much. I know there's Town fans who live all across the country, even abroad, but the Emirates on Boxing Day, that should be interesting. And Chelsea to end 2024. Obviously, Kieran McKenna links there as well. So, not a bad festive period there. Some interesting tests there, to end Newcastle at home. That would be a good game. Obviously, once again, as we mentioned earlier, the connection was so by Robson. A long trip for Newcastle fans down the Suffolk. But, Boxing Day against Arsenal, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at those three, actually. And it's funny you should mention Forest Green, because that is still a very recent memory. And I remember going to Forest Green. It was a lovely day out, actually, but the closest experience I'd had to that stadium was going to watch Needham Market, I think, when I was living in Suffolk. And it was, just drive through fields of wheat, and then suddenly there's this stadium. And I'm looking at that, and then I'm looking at Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea in the space of inside 10 days. And it just makes you salivate, really. Newcastle at home just before Christmas, that's a nice one. I'd prefer to be at home on Boxing Day, but if we can't be, it's nice to have a big game just beforehand. Arsenal away, again, another stadium that a lot of us have been looking forward to going to see. Chelsea at home, last game of the year. Just keep coming, don't they? That's the thing about the Premier League. You're looking for sort of weak points in the fixtures, and there aren't really any. They're all big days, aren't they? Well, some bigger than others, but Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea in quick succession. That is an extraordinary run of fixtures for Town fans who've just had 4 years in League One.
Yeah, I mentioned Forest Green. That was an experience. I'm pleased I went, but now they're playing National League football, and we're now in the Premier League, which it's crazy to think there's some clubs who we played, and now they're playing National League football. They're still in League Two or whatever now. We're now in the big time, which is mad. That's December sorted. And then the new year, happy 2025, ladies and gentlemen. We then start the year. It's not on New Year's Day. Obviously, these on dates will, I'm sure, change throughout the year, the season ahead, because of TV and other stuff. But we start January with an away trip to Fulham. which I like Craven Cottage. I think that's not a bad away day, actually. We've had a few moments with them over the years. But yeah, this will be the first time in the Premier League for a very long time going to Craven Cottage. Then we've got Brighton at home, then Man City at home, and the game I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to, Anfield away to end January, Steve. So another tough month, really, because Fulham, as we mentioned earlier, they're a tricky team. Brighton, obviously, are going to be up there still. I think obviously they'll have a new manager in charge as well. Man City at home, and then of course a trip to Anfield, which I'm sure is going to be another ticket a lot of people are hoping to get. But yeah, a tough January as well.
Yeah, Fulham. I mean, I like Fulham as an away day. There aren't many grounds with this sort of setting like that, so close to the Thames. And you get to walk through, I don't know what the name of it is, there's a lovely little park near the stadium that you walk through from the tube. And they're, of course, redeveloping their stadium as well, so it'll be a new Craven Cottage compared to the one that some of us have been to. Brighton at home, yeah, I mean, again, like I say, that's a club that we want to emulate, so it'll be interesting to see how they're faring by then. And then we know from watching Premier League football that by January, Man City and Liverpool are usually flying and imperious. So good luck to us towards the end of January. But like you say, again, Anfield, it'll be a bun fight for tickets again. I mean, I went to see a friend in Liverpool in the summer, and as you drive out of Liverpool, because of the way they've redeveloped it, you can look to your left and you see tens of thousands of terraced houses. Then sitting above it, you can just see this massive stadium that kind of dominates the skyline. And I remember thinking it'd be nice to be going back there, and we will.
Yeah, you will, which is great. Then February starts with a home game against Southampton. Then Villa away, so a trip to Villa Park for some Town fans. It's been a while since we've been there. We played them a few times in the Championship when they came down. I still remember Emmy Hughes' late goal. Then Freddie Sears scored absolute screamer, but we lost that game. But Villa Park in Feb. Then Spurs at home. That will be a big game. I'm sure there'll be a lot of Town fans looking forward to seeing Spurs in the flesh at Portman Road. And then a trip to Old Trafford, Steve. We played them back in 2015 in the Carabao Cup, or I think I don't actually know what it was called back then. It could have been called Carabao Cup or the Carling Cup or whatever cup it was called, sponsored then. But yeah, Kieran McKenna in the dugout, the away dugout this time against his former team. And yeah, that'll be a game I'm sure a lot of Town fans are looking forward to, a trip to Old Trafford. Big game, that one.
Yeah, because we're talking about this from a fan's point of view, but obviously Kieran McKenna will presumably have looked at that one first for the game he's looking forward to, having had such a long history with the club he supports. So he'll be looking forward to that. I know there's a lot of talk about Old Trafford, and there has been the last couple of years because of leaks, and fans are angry with the Glazers because they say the stadium's falling apart. And I was actually talking to a Man United fan on Sunday who was sort of saying they own a lot of land around that stadium and they could just completely rebuild a new one. But I think for away fans, so what if there's leaks in the roof? It's still Old Trafford. It's still one of the iconic stadiums of world football. And you get off the tram and walk past the cricket stadium, and sort of Old Trafford looms on your left-hand side. And there's something about the walk up that road. Villa away. I mean, Villa is one of those just classy stadiums. Again, it's changed over the years since I first went there, but it's a stunning place to go and watch football. And then Southampton and Spurs at home. I keep saying it, we'd probably be looking to take points from those because we have been, over the last few years, we have been pretty imperious at home. So you would hope that will carry on. And that was actually the secret of certainly the Lisle team and the Burley team as well, was that we carried on being impressive at home from the Championship, or Division 1 as it was, into the Premier League. So we're going to have to hope we can do that again. Yeah,
that's the big thing. I think Portman Road, everyone, we've got to make it a fortress as always. That's, the ground where we hopefully get a lot of our points. But yeah, we shall see. Then March, just the 2 games as of this. Crystal Palace away and Nottingham Forest at home. So a trip to Selhurst Park. We played Palace, I think it was 2017, I think it was. Where we played all our kids and we lost that game in the League Cup or whatever it's called back then. But yeah, just 2 games in March, Steve, as of this recording, penciled in. So as you mentioned, there's some months that are sparse, but because of anything can happen. Obviously, international break in that month. We'll have to go through. So September and November are normally the penciled ones in the earlier season, and then obviously March is normally the international break, so that's probably why there's only 2 games so far. But just the 2 there. But this is where we're probably looking over our shoulder and going, okay, where are we in the table?
Yeah, and maybe we'll need a breather by then, so it might be nice to have just 2 games. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to speculate, isn't it? Because the transfer window's only just opened. We haven't done any business, nor have a lot of the other teams. But you'd look at that and say Palace away, Forest at home. Coming towards the end of the season, it might be an important month, but you just don't know. I don't want to sit here and make myself look a wally. But yeah, I mean, Palace. No disrespect to Palace, because I quite like it as an away day, but it's not a new experience for a lot of us because they were obviously
Championship for a while.
We would have played them in the Championship, certainly in the Keane era. I remember going there when we had Andros Townsend on loan.
Yes,
that was a great day actually. And then Forest at home. Yeah, but yeah, it's funny looking at the fixtures because obviously the other thing we're not going to have to cope with is the FA Cup before Christmas.
Yeah.
Or early rounds of the League Cup because we'll come in a bit later, won't we? And obviously no Papa John
trophy. Yeah. God,
no Papa John ever again, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully not. I know that's an opportunity to go to Wembley, but thankfully, like last year, we didn't have to worry about it. But we were still in the early doors of the Carabao Cup. The thing is, well, we played Fulham and Wolves, and we did really well against them, didn't we? Especially Wolves, where we had to come from behind and win. So we experienced a few Premier League teams last year. This time, we now got 19 to play. Which is good. Then in April, 4 games. I've also got the sort of running linked up here, but I've sort of started with Newcastle as part of the running because I think it's the 5 games. So we'll just cover the 4 games first. Bournemouth away, which is a nice trip. Hopefully a bit nice sunny day down in Bournemouth. I know it's one of your closest, Steve, because you're based in the southwest. Wolves at home, then Chelsea away. Trip to Stamford Bridge. Obviously, we played Chelsea a few times in the FA Cup. I think it was like back-to-back seasons. Although the last time we went there, we lost 7-0, so that wasn't great. Then Arsenal at home, and then a trip to Newcastle to end April. That is going to be the start of the run-in. But, this is where, once again, Steve will be thinking, okay, we need to get points now. Or we could be safe. We could be 10th and just cruising. You never know.
Oh, that would be lovely, wouldn't it? Yeah, Bournemouth will be interesting because I've only been there once, and that was in, I think it was 89 or 90. And it was I know it's on the same footprint, such a different stadium then. And Luther Blissett scored a hat-trick, and then they set the police dogs on us in the away end, and none of us really work out why. So it was a fun day out, that one. They're a club. It's funny how history goes, isn't it? They're a club that 20 years ago, I don't even know what division they would have been in, but they've sort of barreled through the leagues and are now an established Premier League club. And living in Bristol as I do, Bristol Rovers, Bristol City fans often look at them and think, hang on, how can that club, which has a smaller fan base than either of the Bristol clubs, to be fair, how come they can do it and we can't? Or we can't emulate them in any way? And then, Chelsea away. We all love a London away day. There's something about getting the tube to a stadium and sort of feeling like you're at the centre of things for a day anyway. Arsenal at home, that'll be a good challenge. And then, there's always the emotional connection with the Bobby Robson link with Newcastle. And that stadium is incredible. I have to say, though, when I last went there, which was the 2000-2001 season, we lost, but we took the lead. But that away end is so high, and this is no word of a lie. We didn't know who'd scored. They didn't announce it. And we had to text people back in Suffolk to ask who'd actually scored. Was Marcus Stewart. And you felt like you could actually see Felix, though, from the top tier. That's how high up you are. But yeah, a big football city, and because a lot of these fixtures people will look at and think, well, that's a good weekend away. Liverpool, Manchester, Newcastle, London. So people often build a bit of a social trip around these things, don't they? Although, word of warning for us all, we're looking at these dates. One of the things we'll have to get used to in the Premier League, as well as VAR and all that, is these being, we might as well chuck all these up in the air now because, put them in your diaries, put them in pencil, because the TV channels will have their way. And if you think Hull away on a Saturday night is an inconvenience, get ready.
Yeah, I completely forgot to mention that, Steve, actually. Yeah, we've got to get used to potentially, a lot of Sundays, Friday night games, Saturday night games, Monday nights as well. I know we experienced that last year in the Championship, so I got used to it. As you mentioned, Steve, we had Hull on a Saturday night, but we had West Brom. I think that was sort of 5 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday. But yeah, we've got to get used to some of those. But yeah, a lot of these are there. I'm actually going to bring up the full graphic and we'll look at the running as well. But yeah, a lot of these could change in terms of dates and stuff. But yeah, Saturday 3 p.m. we may not have that many. So yeah, get ready. But if it is a weekender, then yeah, look forward to it. Then Steve, the running. I've got got it up here now. Let me find it. Where's the banner thing? So yeah, Newcastle away as we mentioned. Then Everton away. So back-to-back away days. Stuart Watson's derby. The last time Goodison Park will be hosting football matches. So a lot of people can try to hopefully tick that off because they may have not experienced that in the Premier League days back in the day. So that'd be a good one to start May, the 3rd of May. Obviously, in the Premier League, we go on a bit longer, don't we? You know, we actually finished, I think, the 4th of May, last season, sorry. The season's done, but we've still got 3 games after the Everton game. Obviously, Brentford at home, and then Leicester away, the last away game of the season. That could be a very important game, potentially. Then West Ham at home to finish the season, Steve, which not a bad one. I like that, actually, to finish the season at home. So we've got a home game to start, a home game to finish. That run in there, some tough games potentially there. Newcastle, Everton, where will Everton be this season? You know, they sort of had points deduction. Once again, Leicester will have a points deduction. Brentford at home, you know, potentially winnable. West Ham, that'll be a big game. Obviously, West Ham have got another new manager as well. David Moyes. So yeah, thoughts on that running?
There's lots of things in my head I don't want to say out loud looking at that running. Because again, we don't know what we're going to do in the transfer market. We don't know where we'll be in the table. But actually, if you based that running on how those teams performed this season, obviously Leicester in the same division as us, you would say that's a kind run-in compared to what it could have been. We don't know what situation we'll be in, but let's say you flip the fixtures and we had Liverpool at home and Man City away for the last 2 games. We'd be looking at that thinking, oh, please, Lord, let us be safe by then. Whereas these ones, Everton away, Brentford home, Leicester away, West Ham at home, possibly points there on offer if we needed them at that stage, which I expect we will. And yeah, like you say, Goodison, another old ground of English football. I know why they're moving. It's a bit of a ramshackle stadium, but I've always loved going there. It's a proper stadium and a proper football crowd that knows how to create an atmosphere. So it's nice to go there one last time. And I hope that we are around in the Premier League the following season to go to the new one, because I drove past it in the summer, seeing it being built, and again, it looks like that would be a great place to watch football. But that's the season after. Let's not think about that just yet. Can't hear you anymore.
Rookie move there. I muted myself. But yeah, saying about Everton. Actually, I won't say it because I'm Everton fans will be shouting at me. But I'm saying like they can potentially go down if they, have any problems, because they've had last 2 years they've had to really fight for, to stay up. Obviously, last year was pretty much they were able to. Other teams are worse off. So, but yeah, Brentford at home, Leicester away, West Ham at home. 3 big games there, Steve. So. Once again, we don't know where we're going to be. We don't want to sort of jinx it. We don't really want to talk too much about it because you just never know the season signings and stuff. But I want to bring up, Steve, the sort of the full. I brought it up earlier, but which games are you looking forward to, though, mate? Which ones out of these? They're all dotted around, all the big games, all the other games. But which one are you sort of looking forward to the most? And you're based down where you are, so I'm sure you're going to hopefully get up to Suffolk to watch a few games at Portland Road. But yeah, which ones are you looking forward to most?
Well, it's obvious to say the first one, because to be there, obviously towards the end of this season, lots of people I know couldn't get tickets. People I know who've been supporting Town for a long time couldn't get in to watch the game, couldn't get in to watch the Huddersfield game, but they came just to be in Suffolk for that promotion party. So a lot of us who've stuck with the club in terms of buying season tickets, perhaps it didn't seem like the best idea, and now going to reap the rewards of being able to know that we can go to games like Liverpool at home, and that will be an amazing day in the town and sort of the build up for the week before. Spurs away, I've already mentioned. Newcastle away, looking forward to that. All the London away trips, particularly the Olympic Stadium, because I didn't get to go during the Olympics, and we haven't obviously played them it's certainly in the league. And then, yeah, I mean, I think Bournemouth away is my nearest away game, but I very much doubt I'll get in because the away it's a rarity in the Premier League. That is a pretty tiny away end. Forest away. One of my brothers lives in Nottingham, quite close to the Forest ground, so I'll be going to that hopefully. And then the big ones like Man City, like Man United at home, Spurs at home. Just all, I mean, these will all be experiences, won't they, in and of their own right, because the Premier League is such a juggernaut now that every single game, even the ones that a neutral might think are a bit dull, to the fans of each club are a massive occasion. And that's something we're going to have to get used to. Every game is a massive occasion, televised around the world. We'll all have to possibly put up with having a vlogger sitting next to us, some celebrity vlogger, and having Mark Goldbridge talk about us as well. All these treats to look forward to.
Yeah, very much so. And yeah, VAR, as we mentioned, of course, obviously, there's only Wolves who voted to get rid of it, but everyone else wanted to keep it. So we've got to get used to that. But another thing, Steve, I think opposition fans and teams will be looking forward to just a new name, because with the Premier League, it has just been the normal yo-yo clubs, the sort of similar names going up. I think Luton was a nice surprise last year, but now Ipswich Town back in the Premier League. I know there's a lot of fans that I've been speaking to who support other teams. Oh, it's just great to see a new name, and Ipswich Town, and be a few, I'm sure, like Man United fans and teams like that who have never probably been to Portman Road, because obviously they've got new generations of fans, so they'll be trying to tick off Portman Road. But yeah, it's going to be one hell of a season, Steve. I was going to put it on the spot and say, how do you think we're going to do? But just how you feeling in your belly right now? How you feeling going to it now with the fixtures out? It feels real now, doesn't it? We sort of knew it was happening. We knew we were in the Premier League when they signed the documents and we saw Ipswich Town's badge next to all the other 19 teams. But today now feels real. As we mentioned earlier, we can now set our season up. Diaries are now getting penciled in. But as you said, Steve, just put maybe brackets around it. Could change.
Yeah.
But yeah, what how are you feeling about it?
I feel a mixture of emotions. I think when you look at the fixtures and you look at all the teams that we're competing with, there's a natural pessimism because we've sort of had two promotions in quick succession, and because of the way the relegation battle worked out last season, where the promoted teams all went down, then we're coming up against a lot of established teams rather than a division with a bit of a weaker bottom. I'm optimistic because McKenna stayed. I think had McKenna gone, I'd be feeling a lot more pessimistic because he's so key to everything that we do. It's hard to sit here and say, as we've done no transfer business yet, it's hard to sit here and say what we'll actually do, and we don't know what other clubs are going to do or what sort of state they'll be in. I just hope, my main thought is that it's going to be amazing. I hope our fans are ready for the emotional whiplash we're going to feel, because the last 2 years, we've lost 10 games over 2 seasons.
Yeah,
we've dominated most of the games we've played in. You should take out Leeds away and West Brom away last season. So we're not going to get that. We're not going to boss the ball probably in a lot of these games, and we're not going to be completely imperious at home. And obviously a lot of people, a friend of mine had to explain to his son, because he's only been going for 2 seasons, that we don't run on the pitch at the end of every season with like smoke flares and celebrating. That's not normal. So I don't know how we're going to go, because like I say, we yet to see the transfer business we're going to do. I'm optimistic about the whole future of the club. I think we have to remember the trajectory we're on, not just in terms of the playing staff, but the changes that are going to come to the stadium, the training ground, the infrastructure, the investors we've got. So I hope, my main hope is that everyone just bears the context in mind, because it's going to be tough. Like I say, people saying we'll finish 10th. I don't see that many teams finishing below us, just on the basis of who's established and who's got good managers and good squads and has been up there for a while. But I'm really looking forward to it, and it's been a long time coming.
Has been, yeah, a long journey. I was very young the last time Town were in the Premier League, so I only watched a few games. But yeah, now I'm looking forward to taking snappy snaps to these big stadiums, hoping to get that media scran in the belly. But we shall see. I've got a quick other thing, Steve. I'm going to bring up the fixtures again. I'm just going to sort of earmark the sort of Carabao Cup and the FA Cup dates as well. As you said, we won't be in the first round. I think we'll probably be in the second round because obviously we're a newly promoted team. Normally, that's when the Premier League teams come in. I think that is the 28th. That's a Wednesday, apparently. Oh no, it could be a Tuesday as well. But yeah, that is Wednesday, August 28th. So that's just after the Man City Liverpool games. So we'll have a nice little breather from that. So we'll find out. Their international break is the 7th of September. And in that earmark, so Fulham, and then obviously we play Brighton after the international break. Then it was, if we're progressed, it'll be the third round of the Carabao Cup. Then Southampton, there'll be the so yeah, we'll find out whenever that. Then it's just after the Fulham game is the third round of the FA Cup. So we'll have Fulham and then FA Cup, then Brighton, Man City, Liverpool. So that'll be a busy month. January is normally a busy month in it, Steve. Really, December, January is always busy. That's where where I think a lot of teams find out where they're going to be when if they come out of that with good amount of points, it'll be good. But yeah, obviously the FA Cup gets chucked in there, and then I think the fourth round is is February, and then actually the Carabao Cup semi-final. Could we potentially get far in that? We shall see. But yeah, I'm just having a little look now, just seeing if there's any set one. So Manchester away at the moment, that is actually on a Wednesday. I've just seen. So Old Trafford on a Wednesday, but these could change. So some Tuesday night games. Just see if there's any Sunday ones at the moment. Not as I can see. Apparently Leicester City is going to be on a May 18th is a Sunday. West Ham, obviously, normally the final Premier League season is on a Sunday. But yeah, as we said, dates will change. So don't earmark too many weekenders just yet. Just wait and see.
Friend of mine has just texted me a question, if you don't mind answering it, Ross.
Okay.
He said, what will happen first, Town in the Champions League or Ross passes driving test?
Well, that friend is not very nice. But no, I've had that a lot of times. I hope Ipswich Town in the Champions League, to be honest. I think people care. I don't know. People are now getting to that point now where, Ross, come on, mate, it's getting silly. But hopefully this is the year. There's a lot of people now who've got kids who are probably like, when they first listened to the podcast like 5 years ago, their kid was like maybe, I don't know, 12 or something, and now they actually have passed their test. I'm like, bit of a embarrassing moment there.
You'll get there. I always remember as well, Berkey Mackay. I remember in one of the early Kings of Anglia podcasts when the game changed took over Berkey Mackay, the other lads were being like cautious, and he was like, Champions League, that's what we want. So I thought, oh, good lad. I'm glad he's in there with a bit of ambition.
He wants Galatasaray, don't he, away in the Champions League. But last time in the Premier League, we're getting carried away here, but last time we were in the Premier League, our first season back, we finished 5th, and no one thought that would happen. And that was under, I think George Burley was still young there, wasn't he? He wasn't, he only retired, was it 94 or something? Obviously came in, he was still young. Obviously McKenna's got a different journey than George Burley, but anything can happen. Obviously
slightly different time in that we did the double over Man City that season and beat them in the League Cup, I think. So
did we relegate them as well? Didn't they get relegated that season?
Yeah, we did. Don't mention it, Ross. They might come and take revenge. I think they've forgotten. I think they've forgotten, but hopefully.
Yeah, they've got new owners now, new stadium. They've forgotten. They've won multiple Premier League titles. They've won the Champions League themselves. So hopefully they've forgotten about that.
I used to enjoy Main Road as a trip, actually. So it's a shame it's gone. But another new ground, quite an impressive ground by looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, very impressive indeed. I'm just going to bring up the graphic one more time before we wrap up. I hope you've enjoyed the live show. 450 of you are currently watching, so thanks so much for joining us. It's been great to bring you this live show early in the morning. But there they are in all its glory, ladies and gentlemen. All 38 Ipswich Town Premier League games. Which ones are you looking forward to most? Just look at those teams, though, Steve. Just look at those. Obviously, some titans of the Premier League, some big giants who will be playing, obviously, Champions League football themselves. Aston Villa obviously are in the Champions League, so it depends. See how they get on. There's a few teams who will be playing European football, so they've got a hectic schedule. So that's what we've got to look forward to as well. Well, maybe not look forward to, but like Aston Villa and co, those games potentially could change. Definitely the Thursday games. So I'm trying to think who's in the Europa League. Who's in the Europa League? Is it Chelsea, Arsenal? Not Arsenal. They're finished second. Who else? Newcastle in the Europa League, I think.
on the spot here. Did Spurs miss out? Or did they get in?
I think they may have got in Spurs. But But yeah, didn't do our research here, ladies and gentlemen. But there's some teams we may have to play on Sunday because they're in the Conference League, the Europa League, and all that stuff. But yeah, final word, Steve. Not long now. We've still got to find our pre-season schedule. I think at the moment we only know it's Dusseldorf at home at Portland Road. I'm sure this is when it feels, we're ticking off everything, aren't we? New kits will come out eventually as well. But we'll find out the pre-season schedule. But we're ticking off at each one now, aren't we? Transfer windows open, fixtures are now out. Pre-season will start. The boys will be back on the grass. They're actually back on the grass last week doing a bit of a short sessions. But it's now getting closer and closer, Steve. We've got the Euros to entertain us for the time being, but it's getting closer and closer.
It's been an interesting summer, and it will carry on being an interesting summer because this is obviously the starting gun, the fixtures being out, and then you'll get pre-season, like you say, kit release, transfers. We didn't, because of the whole McKenna stuff, we didn't really get to bask in the joy of relaxing, knowing we were a Premier League club, because it felt like the sort of, they cleared away the ticker tape from Christchurch Park, and then within days, we were all worrying that we're going to lose the manager. So there's been no point in this summer where we've actually been able to sit down in Town fans and just have a breather. But would you want to be anywhere else, given our recent history, given the sort of trials we've been through, to be sitting here knowing we're a Premier League club for at least one season, and knowing that we've got the ownership, the CEO and the manager we've got. And I've seen some terrible times as a Town fan, and these, as McKenna says, you've got to enjoy the moments rather than think about the destination. And I watched that Town TV 50-minute special again this week, and it was the first time I'd really let it sink in what we achieved and what those players achieved. And it's to see the town full of thousands of people, just smiles on faces, and like you say, so many young fans involved again. And we've hooked in this ownership group, this sort of iteration of the club has hooked in so many more generations of Town fans, and Premier League football will do the same. So yeah, it'll be tough, and we don't know what sort of shape our squad will be in come that first game against Liverpool. But what a time to be an Ipswich fan.
Yeah, bring it on. I can't wait. I'm sure everyone else can't wait as well. As Harry said, open day, I'm looking forward to it now. I'm looking forward to that more and more. Just to say once again, if you're just tuning in late, Ipswich Town starts, as you can see at the bottom there, their Premier League season at home to Liverpool, who obviously are going to be a new team themselves in terms of a new manager, potentially new players. Will we see Mo Salah? Will he play at Portland Road? But they've still got some big players. And obviously, two big games to start, though. Man City away. So Ipswich Town, a big start for them. Obviously, Steve, I'm sure the players are now looking out and going, geez, that's a big start. Obviously, there'll be a lot of players playing in the Premier League for the first time as well. Local lads like Luke Walford and Harry Clark. I'm sure they're looking forward to the big games as well. But there is the fixtures once again, ladies and gentlemen, in all its glory. Get your season underway. I can't wait. Steve, it feels real, as we said now. And we'll just get ready for the summer. Enjoy the Euros and then get ready for the Premier League to start.
The Premier League's coming home.
Bring it on. Bring it on, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be bringing you another flagship podcast as well. That'll be in your podcast platform, wherever you listen to it from. We're bringing you other shows throughout the weeks and starts. And bring on the season. It feels real now. And hopefully now we can look forward to some signings, some sexy stuff, a new striker, positions all over the park. But we shall see. But thanks for tuning in. And Steve, thanks for joining me as well. And we'll be back next time for many more shows. So big shout out to our sponsored Manscaped. KOA, use the code to get 20% off and free delivery. And follow us on all our socials. And look forward to the 2024-25 season in the Premier League, Ipswich Town. Bye-bye for now.